When it comes to discussions about Dragon Ball, one word that frequently appears is potential. Things like Goten and Trunks are wasted potential, or because of this potential, Broly could beat Jiren, or what if Piccolo got his potential unlocked early? So this got me thinking, which characters in Dragon Ball actually have the most potential? And even beyond that, who in Dragon Ball has the most potential out of everyone? Today, I hope to answer that question, or at least share my thoughts on it. If you do like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel, and let's jump right in. To start, we actually need to define what potential is in Dragon Ball, as it's a term that is used in the series often without much actual in-depth explanation behind what the characters mean when they say it. It also doesn't help that many Dragon Ball characters are able to exceed their own limits through transformations, absorptions, and sometimes just having very strong emotions. Thus, we need to look at the wide array of statements about potential across the series to get some sort of full picture about what the term actually means. The most important ones that I found come from Guru on Namek and the Cerulean Dragon, whose definitions of potential seem to relatively concur with each other. Guru describes potential as essentially a sleeping power, something even the person who has it is completely unaware of, even if they've surpassed their own limitations. Goku also says something similar to this during the Buu saga. Skipping ahead hundreds of chapters and an entire series, the Cerulean Dragon confirms, just as we saw with Krillin, most characters do not have a bottomless potential. There is only a certain amount of strength that they can obtain from that pool of potential. However, due to outside factors, potential can actually increase in Dragon Ball, and characters can exceed these limits without actually needing to transform or anything. We see this several times, notably on Namek with Krillin continuing to grow stronger despite having supposedly reached his potential, and with Gohan, who after several years could have his potential unleashed a second time for an even more drastic boost in ability. So, what we're looking for when it comes to determining who in Dragon Ball has the most potential is firstly, direct statements comparing potential, and secondly, instances of characters rapidly growing in strength and gaining large amounts of power without needing to cheat it out through something like a transformation, or in other words, following through on accessing that actual latent potential. So this isn't a ranking or like a top 5 list, but more of an investigation, looking at all the evidence we have for who has the greatest potential. Right off the bat, we can unfortunately eliminate Goku and Vegeta. Consistently throughout the story, it is not their potential which increases their power, but other methods that allow them to break through their limits. Zenkais, transformations, and of course training are the backbone of how Goku and Vegeta get stronger. In fact, we can actually see the limits of Goku's potential at any time when he uses Super Saiyan 3, which, as stated in the Daizenshu, brings a Saiyan's potential to its very limits. By the time of Dragon Ball Super, any form with God Ki is already massively surpassing the limits that Goku and Vegeta could reach at the time without it, or Super Saiyan 3 would be still their strongest form, which obviously is not the case. If I had to put one of them over the other, I think Goku clearly has higher potential than Vegeta, as when Vegeta had his potential unleashed by Babidi, it only put him on par with Goku, and it clearly was not like a Super Saiyan 3 level boost. Though, like I said before, their potentials may have increased since then in Dragon Ball Super. Either way, there are characters who quite clearly have higher potentials than the two main Saiyans, either because it's stated, or they've just shown growth far surpassing either of them. On the subject of Super Saiyan 3, the first character to fight it, Majin Buu, has an interesting argument for having some of the highest potential in the series. It's no secret that none of the Buu forms train, either because there is no reason to because they were already stronger than anyone they were fighting, or when they were surpassed in power, they didn't train and instead cheated by absorbing someone strong to compensate for the gap. However, in Dragon Ball Super, we see that after training for a day with Mr. Satan, Good Buu suddenly went from being weaker than Buu Saga Goku to being able to swap hands with and arguably body base Super Goku. Just for a reminder, this Goku should be stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku, who would have beaten Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta with ease. While Buu potentially could have gotten stronger, we don't know if he actually could or how much stronger he'd become, so I think we can do better. And doing better, let's look at Android 17. In Super, 17 goes through 2 periods of massive power growth that I think put him above Majin Buu. While it took years instead of just a day, without any training and just protecting his island, Android 17 went from being weaker than first form Cell to rivaling Super Saiyan Blue Goku, which is a much larger jump than the one Buu did. In the Tournament of Power, this is doubled down on, as despite not gaining any new forms or having anything like break his limits, he's still able to keep up with Blue Kaioken x 20 Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta, meaning at the most conservative bare minimum, not counting any other power-ups, he grew at least 20 times stronger in less than an hour. But there are definitely characters who get brought up before Android 17 in these types of conversations, like his partners when they ran duos against Jiren. Frieza. But honestly, I don't think Frieza's potential is that insane compared to the characters we've just gone over. In Resurrection F, Frieza trained for a couple of months and instantly jumped to being able to match base Goku, which is literally a worse version of what Majin Buu did, literally in a single day of low-tier training with Mr. Satan. In other words, while at the time Frieza seemed like he had absolutely busted potential that broke the notion of potential itself in Dragon Ball, since then, it's kind of become commonplace. Of course, Golden Frieza is far stronger than how he was previously, but that comes from a transformation, which I don't think actually should count towards potential, unless you think every character who unlocks Super Saiyan has the same potential just because they could all get the same form. Of course, many of you might bring up Black Frieza, but that's honestly a less impressive power jump than what we already saw from Golden Frieza. Remember, Frieza trained 10 years straight, which is more than any character in Dragon Ball has trained for an extended period of time, but he still needed his new form to beat Goku and Vegeta. Plus, in my opinion, the gap between Granola Arc Goku and Tournament of Power Arc Frieza is proportionally far smaller than the gap between Namek Frieza and Resurrection F base Goku. So for Frieza, with literally 30 times the amount of training, to still need his strongest form ever to put Goku and Vegeta down, I think Frieza's potential just isn't what it used to be. He's washed. But credit where credit is due. Just from image training, Frieza was able to make up for all the strength growth between Resurrection F and the Tournament of Power. He also does show similar growth to Android 17 in the Tournament of Power, and seems to surpass Goku and Vegeta during the Broly movie, but I can't in good conscience point to Golden or Black Frieza and say that he has the most potential in the entire franchise. So let's actually look at the character you've probably been thinking about this entire time. Gohan. It feels a bit redundant to go over the history of Gohan's potential, but from essentially the very first time we saw him fight, potential has been Gohan's entire thing. With strong emotions, he could momentarily match and even surpass the strongest villains in each arc. Since the Cell Saga though, these periods of growth are also met with periods of stagnation, where Gohan either doesn't get any stronger or gets way weaker. Still, once again, around the Tournament of Power and after, Gohan's insane potential is hammered home more than ever. After only a bit of training in the anime, Gohan is able to push Goku to use Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken to beat him. In the manga, it's similar, as he goes from weaker than Blue Goku to literally matching Kefla after taking a single punch from her. Gohan is slightly cheating, as pretty much all of his forms besides Super Saiyan are different ways of unlocking his potential. His ultimate form is essentially just his base at full power, yet it's treated as a separate form, given how he's lost the ability to use it more than once. Even Beast is essentially just a stronger version of Ultimate, given how Goku describes attacks from Beast as Gohan's latent potential. But even with all of this, I still don't think Gohan has the most potential, because Broly exists. Broly's power growth just absolutely blows everyone else out of the water. Over a single fight with Goku and Vegeta, he goes from weaker than their base forms to matching their blue forms. Now, of course, Ikari exists, but that's just a 10 times multiplier given how it's just Great Ape without turning into a big monkey, which wouldn't even make up for the gap between base and Super Saiyan, let alone Super Saiyan Blue. And it does seem that guides support me on this one. In official character bios for superhero, Broly is described as either having the highest potential or being the Saiyan with the highest potential. Even if Gohan is a half Saiyan, I would still consider him falling under this definition. So, if you ask me, both from statements and feats and everything we've gone over, I think it's very clear that Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, has the single highest potential in all of Dragon Ball, and it's very likely we'll never get another character who will surpass him in that category. But what do you think? Is there someone in Dragon Ball with more potential than Broly? Let me know your thoughts and how I was wrong in the comments down below. See ya!